Okay, here
Woohoo!
we go. Sorry about that, everyone. And I will put something in the chat box because we were having so much fun for some reason. We had tested it out, and when we got on tonight for our Mindbody Dictionary, um, I guess we call it presentation or
Yeah,
chat,
sure.
whatever. Um, so suddenly it didn't work, and we had all the things tested out. We've been spending a
We
few
did.
hours today on it,
We did it
actually.
all the right things, but you know what? That's all right. Thank you guys for your patience. We appreciate it. I'm going to pull up something here so we can have this available as well. There we
Yeah,
go.
there we go. So we're hoping some of you hung in there with us and just are still there, and we appreciate it. And we wanted to start 15 minutes ago, but for some reason, no matter what we did, it just kept doing that, and that's a part of our life. I
That
think
actually is. We
it,
get to demonstrate that here, don't we?
that's what I get to learn a lot of. And
Yep.
so I
Yeah, go for it.
So anyway, tonight, as for those who are with us tonight, we have the chat area, and we have Nicole helping us out. Thank you, Nicole. And we are here in the home of Denise's mother here in Missouri, and her name is Denise. All of a sudden,
Diana.
Diana Wayman. All of a sudden, I want to say Denise again. And I have my lovely wife also in the audience right here. So it's nice to be here with Denise. I saw the eclipse here, and it was fabulous. It was amazing to watch. The clouds cleared up, and so we were able to see it very, very
It
well,
was
and it
amazing.
was an amazing
That was
experience.
that was the most amazing thing I have ever seen.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was absolutely incredible.
And so anyway, we love to have you ask your questions as we go along. We have a little PowerPoint that we're going to go over, and as we dive into this, um, the idea tonight is to answer any questions you may have about Mindbody Dictionary. Also, give you additional ideas. And so Denise is bringing up the PowerPoint right now, but just to let you know, Denise has been great. We appreciate all she's done in the design of the book. She keeps asking me more things to write all the time, so I keep
Always. You guys can
writing
send them
more.
to me too. So if you send them to me, I'll get them to him.
And and she's a lovely mother of 4 children, and has her own little private practice too. And she's been doing this for a while and taking the classes. So, and there we go.
Very much. And you guys, most of you know Ron. That's how you found out about the book, that it's coming out. And Ron's been doing this for over 30 years. Lots of experience with thousands of people. Is
Thousands,
that fair?
yeah,
Yes,
thousands.
very much.
Yeah, we've got a
And
long list.
he has been able to observe and really, with your capacity and your awareness and everything, put all of this information for us so that we can enjoy it. And I am deeply grateful, and I know I am not alone in that gratitude for your wisdom and the development that you've taken within yourself and sharing that with us.
Thank you.
So, and Ron is the father of 4 children, 6. I'm 4. He's 6 children, and he's got 18 plus 1 grandkids. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yep. So it's pretty exciting. So we're excited to be here with you guys today.
So, and we just talked about that. So let's go on. And, this quote of letting go of the clutter and the hidden treasures within. I believe that the answers are within each of us, and that if we're willing to do what it takes to go find and help ourselves and be empowered so we can release all that clutter that's up there, all the stories and the games and the burdens that we carry, it will open doors for you, and it will make a difference in your life.
That's what we get to talk about today, applying the Mindbody Dictionary to do exactly that.
That's right.
So just as an overview of what to expect for tonight, we're going to talk about some ways to use MBD, a little bit of house cleaning, so to speak, but we're going to just kind of bullet point that. Relating and applying the Mindbody Dictionary into your life. We all come from a different perspective, and we use this in a different way. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, perhaps maybe the most important part, making it fun
Making it fun.
and enjoying this process and
Right.
really bringing it to ourselves and to others in a really positive way.
And so most of you already know about the MBD book, the Mind-Body Dictionary book. And so many people, as we were surprised, wanted it in their home. And so we thought, well, why not do the electronic or the app? Because they just want to touch it and feel it. And my wife is one of those, and she says, oh, the book's the best. The book's the best. So I'm very grateful that Denise, several months ago, or a year ago, or whatever it was, when we were installing the app, because we needed to, said, let's do the book now. And so I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
And of course, I had no idea it was going to be 733 pages. Are you kidding? If I knew it was that long, I would have probably started on it. I think it was just, one pebble at a time and one stone at a time.
You
and
just
then
keep moving and writing.
and then, of course, that led to the ebook, which is not as difficult as in the book. Once you have the book, then you can get that.
Right.
And then, of course, the app was the brainchild of Denise. She says, oh, we ought to do this app.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the celebration of the app when it came out the first time.
Yeah.
And the second time was the celebration of the book.
Right.
And so now you can get the app and the book and the ebook. And so the benefit of the app, of course, is if you get that, you'll get additional updates that will be in other books and things like that. So there are advantages to that.
Yep.
Anyway.
There's the search function that you have in the app that you don't have in the book. And then we have other books in the works. Ron is continuing to write, and I continue to poke him to do so and help in that. And so those will come out on the app as we get them over time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the culmination will be in a new book. So
let's talk about find your condition. And so, Denise, how do you find a condition?
So we've had a little bit of feedback, and we wanted to just kind of address some of these things. Sometimes there are conditions that you have a word for, that it makes sense, like this is my condition, and that word might not be the same word that you find in the book or in the app. So the table of contents.
Just 1 second on technical. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, and it's going over really well. I'm sorry, I'm just pausing because of technical difficulty, because this mic is actually plugged into here. So we need a table of contents. Can you hear, Aaron, you can hear us? That's great. So we're coming across just fine. We don't have to worry about that at all. Go back to your talking about the table of contents, and thank you, Aaron, for tuning in. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good to see you. So sometimes the word that you have is different. For example, there's stomach aches. There's also abdominal pain, which they're similar. There's some differences in the definitions of those. There's pimples, acne, and zits. There's vomiting versus nausea or throwing up. So those kind of words in the app we've tried to put together so that you can search those words and still find what you're looking for. And obviously the book, it might be a little different. So using the table of contents, searching in the app, you'll find that. You might also need to go to Google, look up the thesaurus, put in the word that came to your mind and see what Google spits out and see if that's in our book. If the topic or the synonym for that topic isn't in there, you can actually submit it through mindbodydictionary.com. Contact is the link there. That you can go to and just say, I would love to see this condition, something that you have that you would like to see that we can put into a future book or into the app at the time that we are able to get to it.
And for those who have the ebook on the Kindle right now, you go in the upper left-hand corner on, I think, most of the Kindle apps, and you see the little hamburger, meaning 3 lines there, and it will help you go through the table of contents. Then you can click on that. It should go to the space where you need to find. The search part on the other side is we're still working that out for you. And mostly it's the same as the book, of course. It's just on ebook form. All right. So
cool. Is that all for that one?
And we're going to explore and connect to finding your condition. We're going to play with this a little bit. So if you have something you want to look up, you're not quite sure, you can follow some of these rules. Search in the app, look in the book, guess, just start guessing your body part. And we'll talk about that some more on the next slide here. Oh, we ought to first signing the workbook for those. Soon it will be available on Amazon to have it in a print form, so you could buy it. It's going to be very inexpensive, and can be sent to you. And there's going to be a video that I've already produced. It just needs to be edited. And then you could look at the video that explains it in detail, the workbook, and explains more about the Mindbody Dictionary. So as soon as we have that available, we'll send notification, and you can check back in, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, and it should be available then.
If you don't currently have the workbook and you would like it, you can go to that same link on our website, mindbodydictionary.com, contact us, and we will make sure to get you that link. Of course, you'll want the book to go along with it. It's complimentary to the book. So,
yes, that's right.
Or the app, either way, whatever you'd like. But just let us know. We're happy to get that to you. No problem.
And she did a great job of putting that together. And she's working on the next project, that journal. Why don't you talk about it?
The journal is going to be a Mindbody Dictionary, organized journal. We're going to have various pages that will help guide and lead you through organizing the insights that you get from the book itself, and deepening your understanding of your personal life, what's going on in your heart and mind, what's the specifics of your situation. And you can kind of write that out. You can use the affirmations, you can have the tabs, you can have, okay, this condition for this and this condition is that. I'm a little excited about it. So that will also be available coming up soon. If you're interested, you can make a comment on there as well. And if there's anything particular you're hoping to see in there, we'd love to hear about it. Yeah.
When I suggested a journal, she got so excited. She wanted to do it right then. So
I did. And then my 4 kids were like, Mom. So I have to organize my life, and I do.
Which is partly the journal, is about how you go through life, like we did tonight, because we had some technical things happen. I mean, it was just odd. Right. I mean, the internet was working, and all of a sudden it wasn't. Just as we were going to go live, we went, okay. Yep. And so how do we deal with that? And that's what a journal's for, is to help you write down your thoughts and feelings and go through what we do in the Mindbody Dictionary, of course, is, we have these conditions where you have something come up, and you have, like in this area here, and it says bruises here, and we have a troubled mindset, and we have a healing mindset. And we want to find a way to go through those troubles in a way that it becomes productive. It becomes powerful for you. And journaling it is one way to do that.
Absolutely. They will always come. The problems and troubles will always come.
Yeah. And answers. And I'm grateful for that.
I was going to say, I'm grateful too. It builds us. It builds our capacity. That's the point. So the other way to access more information with us is actually attending these events. This one's today's here on YouTube. And we want to do some question answer. We want to go deeper into very specific conditions. We want to offer you what you're looking for. So again, you can send it to the contact us. You can put it in the chat here today and let us know what it is that we can support you so that you can deepen your connection in this way. Is that okay?
Yeah, you bet.
All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is relating and applying the Mindbody Dictionary in your personal life. So in the book itself, you'll find in the very beginning the how to use MBD pages. It starts on page 1014 in Roman numerals.
Yeah, Roman numerals 14.
And so we've got the 4 ways of doing this. So the first one is very straightforward, looking it up. And we've talked about that. That's pretty straightforward. It's a dictionary. You can look it up and say, oh, I'm struggling to sleep. I'm going to read the insomnia. You connect to it specific to the bullet points. Sometimes it's all of them. Sometimes it is a couple of them that you really resonate with. And they don't all need to apply every time. That's partly why we did bullet points on that. And then just integrating that information, allowing it to wake you up, allowing you to understand, okay, the healing mindset, the direction I'm going. And then I kind of consider the affirmations kind of like a bridge between the troubled mindset and the healing mindset. A lot of times we have these troubled mindsets that are just wired in and you repeat it. Well, now I'm going to repeat the affirmations, and they're going to bridge me into that coaching, that healing mindset.
Are we recording this? Okay.
I believe so.
Okay. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I just had to check in on something. And so I had a 11-year-old boy told me today that he wasn't feeling very good in his stomach. His stomach was really hurting him. His mother looked up in the Mindbody Dictionary and just went over him, or not over him, went over the troubled mindset. And once he found the one that matched, then he realized what was going on in his life, and the stomach started to clear up. He started
Really
feeling
cool.
much better. I don't know if you heard that or
No,
not. Yeah,
no, I didn't.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. I can tell you who it is after this because
Sounds good. Yeah, no, I'm taking guesses.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
So
awesome.
you look it up and you just go through what is best and matches, and then you go to the healing mindset. And when you get your journal, or you can start journaling now, some thoughts and feelings, and start processing it immediately.
So another way to use it is reading it cover to cover. We have had people here, because to be honest, it didn't cross my mind. I have, but it didn't cross my mind to recommend you can read this cover. There are conditions in here you are not manifesting physically, that you have wisdom and guidance into creating wholeness in your life from these other conditions. There might also be things that you're not manifesting physically, or maybe you're not aware, that are in the premature stages or the prayer stage, and you're like, oh, I relate to that really well. And you're not physically going there, but you don't physically want to go there. And so you can again have that wholeness in reading it to cover to cover. I had something like that recently. I was like, oh, I relate to that. And years ago, I actually was manifesting physically, but obviously the energy wasn't fully cleared up. And so it's like, oh, this is something I can focus on, and reading conditions that I didn't think I would relate to. But
and also reading it cover to cover, or just randomly pick up the book and just look at it. You might find a friend or a family member or someone you know that might be having some issue there. And so you can do it for someone else. And obviously be careful how you tell them. But
yes, and we'll be talking more on that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. So considering contributing conditions. So a lot of times there is a rabbit hole of information that you can go down. So for example, and you'll see this in here, sinuses is something that if you've got some sinus stuff going on, well, then you have other conditions. And Ron, do you want to talk a little bit what
sinuses
that looks like?
Can be a lot of things. In the book, it mentions something in the colon or the liver, or maybe experiences of anger. Also, sinuses can deal with accidents, or it could deal with self-blame or self-hatred, or frustration with other people. There could be many reasons of all, but most of all, if you have any type of sinusitis or inflammation, there's internal conflict going back and forth. Now, some of that's written in the book, some of it's not. We'll add that in over time, different contributing conditions. And a future event we'll talk about more extensive. We can go more. This one,
you can find a lot of those, or all of them, in the app. So if you search in like sinuses, something that might come up in the search is inflammation or anger. And so you'll see that and be like, why I put sinuses in? Why didn't inflammation come? Well, that's because it's a contributing condition.
Right.
And so that's how to look at it in the app. But also when you actually read sinuses and it says anger, well, then go off and read anger. Anger's in the book. And then go off and read colon. Colon's in the book. And liver. Well, then you get to one of those and you find, oh, there's an issue of wisdom in the liver. Well, what wisdom am I missing in my life? So there's a rabbit hole. You just can keep on going and discovering deeper understanding. Okay, I've got this sinus thing. I already knew I had maybe a colon thing or a liver thing, and then continue on your journey.
And so in the book, you'll see troubled mindset, and you just go down and you can see rejection, regret, blame, anger. You can see you need validation, external. You can, when you get the information, take it broader. And so she mentioned the app. You can do it even in the and go further and find other areas that are very much connected, actually.
Absolutely.
So, okay.
One thing on that, and we are going to be asking a little bit later about our next book, and a lot of those, like the anger and the frustration and things, are in the book currently, but we don't have rejection or judgment or blame.
Not in this book.
Not in this book yet, and in future books, and that could be some of those things that you could reference as we move forward.
And we will talk about it later, but we'll want your feedback of what you want the most.
Yes.
And I can stay up all night, can I?
Yeah, you do, don't you? We've already done that too. Yeah. The last one is the drama triangle. So there's a story, and sometimes, and similar to contributing conditions, sometimes we have a story going on where The sinuses and the liver, and what else, Ron? The colon could be the
Mhm.
three. There's like this tug of war going between, and you actually need to resolve the various corners of this triangle to resolve the overall issue, and it's a wholeness experience. It's kind of this victim, villain, hero mindset, and so you transform. You're like, okay, which aspect of this is playing a villain in my role? Well, maybe that's the sinuses, but who knows? It could be the colon or the liver. One might be playing the victim. Oh, poor is me. Oh, I'm so sad. And then the other one's like, I'll just save the day. I'll just take over. I'll just do everything for everybody all the time. And if you've got that story going on and it's showing up in your body in that way, that's something to consider.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to answer a question, if that's okay, because I actually saw it. And thank you, McKenna, for asking. She says, what about appetite and digestive issues? So I'm going to go back to the drama triangle in a second, because I want to do this and then apply it to the drama triangle. Is that okay?
Cool.
So, because I'm really big into the villain, victim, hero stuff. So if you look under the app and use the word hungry, you will find the word greed. Interesting, right? So greed is there. And if you also look in the app, you could find the word craving and what cravings we have. Now we have, I don't know, 5 craving types,
About
about 5. And I know there's other ones to do, sugar and things like that. So if we use the word greed, okay, greed is not always appetite, okay, but it can be. And if it's that like, oh, I need more, I need more, I need more. So that could be a victim. A victim is never satisfied, okay? It could be a villain, where the villain will take whatever he or she wants. And it could be the hero seeing the other person is in need for the victim or wants to fight the villain. Then they could relate, like, how do we help the person who has an excess appetite, who has this excess craving? So you can apply the drama triangle that way. Or digestive issues. So we do have digestion in the book, but how do we have that in the book?
We have stomach. You can look up stomach, and then it'll be digestive issues under stomach.
So if you think about the stomach, okay, and if I type in stomach here, it could be stomach problems, it could be indigestion. So that's another way to look up digestion, is look up indigestion in the book, okay? Abdominal pain, that's another one. Vomiting and pancreas. But think about the stomach. A lot of times when there's digestion issues, it's because there's excess stress in the abdominal region. And so usually the first word that comes up is worry. So I would, when there's digestive issues, is actually go to the word worry, thinking too much, worried about this, and anxiety. So you have anxiety, you have worry, you have conflict. There's all these things you can deal with that. From a drama triangle point of view, if we take it into that, then that could be the victim who's saying, oh, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I don't know what's going to happen to my kids. I don't know what's going to happen here. That actually pulls energy from you. When we're in that victim state, we're actually releasing energy, and we're using way too much energy up. Do you know one of the most energy, what would we say? What's that?
Energy depleting, is that what we're saying?
Energy use. We have the brain, it uses up a ton of energy, and then the stomach, it takes so much energy. We're worried. Now we have both of them going. We have our brain going, we have our stomach going, and we're overusing our energy, and thus the appetite, and thus the hunger. And so the body becomes greedy to get more and more and more. Okay. So that could be the victim.
What if the appetite is less?
Oh, well, they don't have appetite, right?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the loss of appetite, which both of those are in the book. Appetite excessive and appetite loss of.
Okay. So what do you think that is? The lack of appetite.
Whew, put me on the spot. I could look it up.
Because
I got it right here.
That's okay. I asked you because I had to think about it. That's my purpose, huh?
Yeah. I was gonna say it's when you're down. Now that I can see it, oh yeah, that made sense.
When I lack appetite, actually it's been very beneficial if I'm stressed, because if I eat when I'm very stressed, it's actually harmful to the body. And so sometimes when I don't have appetite, I'm actually in a stressful state.
Right.
And so it's actually helpful to pause it. But What if I have loss of appetite or lack appetite when I'm not stressed? Okay. Then that's a chronic condition inside and could be depression.
Right.
It could be a lack of vision, could be a lack of hope. Like, I don't know what's going on with me. I don't have a feeling about that. And that's a victim state too, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Now, can it ever be a villain state? Yeah, it can. It can be a villain state where they
Yes.
become very particular. They don't care about anything but what they want. So it could do that too. But anyway,
Right. Yeah, and that's part of why the journaling is so important, and connecting to it personally is so important. This is all about raising our awareness and giving us more awareness, but you might have something personal that this can help you wake up to, or just even looking inside and seeing more information.
right.
For sure.
Was there anything else? Okay. All right. Let's go on.
All right. So we all have we come from a different perspective. There's a lot of moms out there, myself included.
And dads.
There's dads. I was going to say he can't
And
go into that
grandpas.
category. So,
And grandmas.
oh, did the volume just go down?
Did the volume just go down?
Did that go for everybody or just Melinda? JK, Melinda. Okay. It must have for a second.
Okay. It's our volume went down.
Or hers. Maybe hers just.
Oh, okay. Okay. So moms, talk about moms.
All right. So I'm a mom of 4. I've been using this information for many years, and I've had lots of experiences with my kids. One was really fun. We do homeschool around here, and my daughter was complaining a bit, and then her hand started hurting really bad. And when it stopped, and I kept on kind of ignoring, well, come on, let's finish and then we'll deal with that. Of course, we needed to deal with it. And so we looked it up, and, I read it to her, and she was little. She was probably 7 maybe at the time. And she looked at me and was like, that's exactly what I'm thinking. It was pretty fun. Cute. It has also helped for things that have happened in my kid's life that I was completely unaware of and really needed to know. And because I understood how this works, I was able to ask some questions and I create a safe space for them to talk about something that I was like, I knew something's happening. Your body's doing this. Something's happening. We need to talk. And then they did. And of course they felt so much better. It was such a huge blessing because our kids don't exactly know how to verbalize everything, and we can help them through that.
I mean, I don't know how to verbalize everything either. I'm learning through the years, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I did this, is for me a long time ago, to help work things out, and started to talk as my wife is here watching. She knows how much I talked and worked out things, and it's very important. So that's wonderful.
Yeah. And it absolutely helped in the healing process very quickly for her in that case. So it's amazing. And
as an uncle, my nephew and niece, they let their kids look at it. So grandnieces, they were looking at the book and they kept going, whoa, okay. They looked around to see if I was there. Is he looking at us right now? And no, I'm not. I'm still here. But it was great to have them say that, because they really related to what was being said in their life. And so sometimes just offering it, as we see down here, the therapists and coaches, when I'm coaching individuals, sometimes they say they have an issue or whatever, and I condition, and I just give them the book and let them start reading sometimes. And then they pick it out themselves oftentimes. Yeah. And the funny thing is, if they say, no, it doesn't match, because there's every once in a while someone wants to be in denial, and that's interesting.
That's okay.
Then I say, do you know anybody like that? And they go, oh yeah, I do. And then they'll point out somebody else, because that's the level they can handle it, of course,
safer. It's safer.
And so since I'm on the coaches thing, for those who are therapists and coaches, this is a tool. You already have other tools. This will make it so much easier to go deeper and faster. It'll help them embrace what they're dealing with. So it's just so exciting to have people use it and embrace it. A massage therapist that I know automatically uses this so well, so quickly. And it just helps his massage go a lot easier, much easier for him. He doesn't have to work so hard when he uses the book. So, and we want feedback on what's happening with you and how we can improve what we give to you to help you in your work.
I had a chiropractor friend who was working on somebody and they just would not adjust, just tight, and that happens. But she understood this information. She had the app. She had an intuition, and she said, "Is there somebody you need to forgive your, like, is there someone you need to forgive? You're angry."
Yeah, you're
And
holding on to it.
she burst into tears. My brother, and bam, popped right back into place.
And just like that.
So
Because which is more important, the mind, the body, or the heart, and the soul? Well, guess what? All of them are.
Yeah.
So if we're ignoring something in our heart of forgiveness, or we're not allowing ourselves to see, thus denial, it affects the body directly.
Yeah.
Directly, every single time. You may not notice it, or you may notice it too much, but there's a direct link, and always has been.
Right. So part of what Ron was saying earlier is relates to that friends in the community and sharing this information. So the people have been really comfortable with sharing, oh, I've got a headache, oh, my eyes are, I've got tight shoulders. And this makes it so, kind of like your nieces and nephews, they read it and they're like, oh, and you see my insides in a different way, and it can be sensitive. And it's so important that we're compassionate, and that we use this information with love and with understanding and empathy. And, sometimes people, they see stuff in here and they're like, oh, see, don't you know, you see, and kind of get into
Ego.
you get into your face about it. And we want to really just encourage and ask that you maintain that understanding, that compassion for yourself and for those around you. Sometimes we can be really hard on yourself, and that's not going to help. And that's not the purpose of this information.
No.
It's to be gentle and loving with yourself, and to have compassion for, our bodies are kind of like our children or our inner child. They respond so much better to love and gentleness. Our body responds to love and gentleness.
And the truth is, our body is like the little child.
It is.
And so the mind takes on the role of the adult and the parent, and the heart, of course, takes on the role of sometimes the teenager. And so sometimes when our body is giving us physical conditions that are painful and harmful to us, maybe it has a voice that isn't being heard, and we want to take the time to hear it. And other people in pain, the same thing, and be gentle when you tell them and open to them. That'd be really, really important. So
can I tell a quick story?
Oh, of course.
So this is the origin story of MBD, actually. And so when I was a teenager, I went to Ron because my body, my inner child, I guess, my eyes were freaking out. They were just, in so much pain. I couldn't open them. It felt like I had a million needles just poking at them. I had a million washcloths, and my mom rushed me to his office as a teenager, and she said, help, and he helped. And so I came in, and first thing he said was, well, what do you not want to see? Now, I was a teenager, and I said, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't want to talk about it. I don't know if you remember that.
That sounds like every teenager I've ever met.
I was solid teenager.
That's what they're supposed to do.
And that sounds like something the heart might say, like, I hurt and don't, And that's what I was doing, but my body was demanding that I see something.
Did I make you say anything?
No. You said, okay. And then he just did his thing, and he just supported my body and just loved my body, so helped my body love itself through it, kind of thing, and supported me. And then I left. He said, by the way, I left with no pain. He said, go home and eat some carrots. That's all we talked about.
I forgot that part.
That was it. It was awesome. And I did. I loved carrots. I was like, that sounds great. I needed them. And, carrots have vitamin A, and vitamin A is good for the eyes. And so over time, my heart got safer. My body was safe. My heart got safer. And I ended up going back and choosing to see the thing that I knew I needed to see.
And she did.
And I chose. So that's kind of how this got started.
Yes, long time ago. And so does anyone have a question about their perspective? If you into that and how to use the Mindbody Dictionary for yourself or others? If so, put it in the chat, or we can do some more at the end.
Yep. Put it in there now, and we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll keep moving on. Is that okay?
Yeah, we can do it.
And that's what this is. What's your story? So on the Mindbody Dictionary website, there is a link there. What's your story? You can find it there. We'd love to hear your stories. We have so many. And we have friends that share their stories with them. Some of them are lighthearted and fun and funny, and some of them are very tender and painful. And you can actually submit them anonymously if you would like. You can tell us whether or not you want us to share, or if you want to just share it with us, have someone that who can hear you and appreciate what you are going through. You can tell us what happened, how you connected to what happened, what was the result of the awareness, and what do you do now? What do you know now that you can see what your story is and how it came to be? So
yeah, and it's okay to put beliefs and feelings and the story, just whatever you want.
yeah, we'd love to hear more of what you guys experience, as well as including more of what you'd like to have. So, and then this last point we want to talk about is making it fun, finding the humor in life. And Ron is like professional at so many things, and that is one of them.
Yeah, I was making jokes about the chicken eggs today, wasn't I?
Oh my goodness.
Well, I was trying to find the yolk and everything, you know.
It was there. It was there.
So making it fun is one caveat to that, and one consideration is make sure that you respect people when you're having fun with this, and if you respect people, that'll be really really important. Of course, make it enjoyable. And I think, and I found a lot of people, when they're reading these things, they've actually spontaneous made it more enjoyable. Like, oh my goodness. And they have these realizations, right?
Right.
And so they have it fun that way.
Yeah.
And you could also change, I didn't put that in my notes, but you can also change characters. Sometimes you could role play it. And you could say, well, if I was, and then you could role play it as you, or role play it as like a pirate or an actor or captain of the sea, or or a cowboy, and have fun role playing those conditions, and that could make it a lot of fun too.
Right.
Right. And one thing I noticed, that what takes it away from being fun is we make it so personal sometimes, like make it so important. We make it way too important, and when you make it important, then the body says, oh, this must be important. That means hold on tight. And the more you hold on tight, it's going to take longer. So what you can do is you want to find out what is too important that's causing you discomfort. I wrote this down earlier. And that which is informative but not so precious to you. Remember that old precious from Gollum. If we make it so precious that we can't let it go, then we won't be able to transform. We won't be able to be empowered. Sometimes we're waiting like for someone else to change. We're waiting for everyone else to make the difference, then we'll change. Well, that might take a long time. So let's find out what's too important, what's too precious, and learn from that precious, make it a true gem, a true treasure, and then let it go. Because everything is your teacher, and everyone. So let's do that. And then you can actually, then as you let it go, then you can have more fun with it and grow from it. And I tell you, I've been through a lot of pain in my personal life. And I am so grateful for it. And now I can think of it with a lightheartedness, and I'm more free. And it's really wonderful.
Yeah. I might divulge too much, but I'm going to, because it works with what he just said. So here we go. There's a condition in there, and I won't mention which one for whatever. But one of the definitions in there, it says you think you are right. It was in one of the troubled mindset. And I read that, and at the time I was dealing with this issue, I looked at that and I said, I don't think I'm right. I am right. And I just, I heard myself say that and mean it. And then I couldn't help but laugh. I mean, that's just what we all experienced just now. Like, that's hilarious, and this precious of being right was more important than my happiness and my well-being.
Yeah.
So that helped me a lot to remind myself over time, then not worth it, not worth it to be right over something. And then, of course, the transforming at all the levels of that. So. And
you can cry happy now.
Oh yeah.
You can cry happy. And by the way, we're all human.
Yeah.
And so everyone has a moment of pride. Everybody has that moment of wanting to be right. It's a natural state of affairs of growth. And if you don't have that in your development, it will come sometimes. You need it, but also you need the moment where you let it go too.
Right.
Yeah. Right. It's a natural growth. Okay.
So someone's asking here, does every ailment have an emotion behind it? What did you say, Ron?
I don't know of one that doesn't. And if it does, I'd like to find it. Maybe I don't know if
That'd
I'd
be
like to
super
find it, but it'd
interesting.
be very rare. So you can challenge us. Go ahead, challenge us, and remember on this on emotions. The emotion could be part of the cause, but it also could be part of the consequence.
Right.
You don't have to say that the emotion is always the cause,
Right.
because that's what some people debate. They say, "Oh, how could emotion be the cause of everything?" No, you got a mind, you have a heart, you have a body, you have a soul. There's many parts to us that are part of the cause, but it's part of the equation. So it could be beginning, or it could be the end, or it could be in the middle. So because of that, if someone is hurt in an accident, there's always an emotion to it. Okay.
Right.
It just is, right? It depends upon the individual, right? But there's always going to be something. That's an example of that.
Right. Right. And it could have been before, even on an accident.
Correct.
And it could just be after.
And the accident one is, you could have had some fear, let's say, then you have an accident, and then the fear goes 10 times because of the accident.
Right.
So the accident can expand it too.
Right.
So
there's a lot of things there for sure. So that was kind of an example, but we could do, oops, I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. We could do another example. Does anyone want to put something in the chat there? There's fatal illness. That is, I mean, another thing, but we can do that, or we can talk about choosing an example of making it fun. We can pull something out of here.
And she wrote the fatal illness. I could comment until someone has something else.
Sure.
So I would assume you're talking about cancer or something similar. So there is a little bit of that in the book. We have a few of those in the book that are very, very serious, and we're going to be doing more for you. But even the fatal illness, when I talk to people, I want them to be real as soon as possible with what's going on in their life. And so I ask them, I say, because I do a lot of personal coaching, I say, what's real for you? Are you wanting to live forever? Do you want to live for a day? You want to live for 10 years? What's your goal? And they kind of go, well, that's odd, because most everybody else is trying to tell me when I'm going to die rather than let me choose. Right. And I go, yeah, well, that's not my choice anyway. And so then I say, well, what if you live for this long? We make up a number. What's going to happen? Are you ready to live that long? And some of them go, whoa, wait, that's way too long. And I put it way out there. And then we start having fun. And says, well, what are you comfortable with? There's an individual that I can't say much about that person if they're listening, but that a fatal illness that keeps living because her other condition, it was worse her whole life. For decades, she had this other condition that most people are surprised she's still alive. And then she gets cancer. She goes, well, that's easy. And so she just keeps going, and she takes it in stride. She takes it in humor. She says, hey, when God wants me, he'll get me. Until then, I'm here. And she has such a great attitude and really going for it. She's keeping herself alive. Right. And of course, God is with her.
Of course. Yeah.
I have a question if we're ready for questions now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So my first question, I thought it might be kind of fun to look at an ailment that's maybe not in the book, since I have you guys trapped. So I have diastasis recti, and I've already checked, it's not in the book. So for someone like me who has something very specific, can you give us an example of what we might be able to look up?
Okay, so just give me some help about the condition.
So I have had 4 babies very quickly, and so my abdominal muscles have separated, and now they have not rejoined. It's pretty common for a lot.
Well, you're talking about the linea alba in the middle, right?
Yes.
So your abdominal muscles have separated, and your linea, that's what it's called, alba, right in the center of your body, it hasn't joined yet.
Exactly. Yeah, it
and,
hasn't come back yet.
Yeah, and so a lot of ladies who have triplets, which I have a client that had triplets, it wasn't coming back together. And some ladies with twins, and in your case also, after the was it separated from the very beginning or not?
So with each baby, it got a little bit worse.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of what happened. So after my first one, it came back together, but I didn't do the PT because I didn't know what they needed to do. So by baby number 4, it was kind of permanently separated.
Right. So she's talking about after having children, then that linea alba down the center of the abdominal region is separating more and more, and it's painful, isn't it?
Not always. It can be sometimes.
Yeah.
Mostly, it causes other problems like bathroom and I have to use the bathroom more frequently.
Right.
I can't play and keep up
Well,
with
because the
kids.
abdominal muscles, she's saying there could be more frequent use of the bathroom and the utility that way because of the abdominal region, of course, holds the energy for the small intestine and of course the stomach. And the small intestine has everything to do with diarrhea and that sort of thing. And so what I do is look at the whole condition, and she wants me to, it's not in the Mindbody Dictionary directly, but she could look under abdominal issues, right? She could look under, I don't think we have small intestine.
We do.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we do.
I forget what we put in there now. We have small intestine. She could look up diarrhea. Okay. She could, do we have pregnancy?
We don't have pregnancy.
Okay. We don't have pregnancy there.
Yeah.
And postpartum?
That one's in the list.
Oh, that's the list I'm going
for
to do.
next.
So
for
So
next
anyway,
book.
I've given ideas for, this book and the future. Okay. Now, what's going on with the small intestine? The small intestine likes to be organized and it loves to have things in its proper place. So may I ask you, do you like that?
You like to have things in
Having
their
things
proper.
in its proper place. Yes, very much so.
How much do you like things organized?
When it's not organized, I feel really uncomfortable.
She says she feels really uncomfortable. Can you hear her, by the way, out there? Can someone comment? Can you hear when Nicole's commenting there?
Because we can repeat if we need to.
Yeah, I'll repeat it if people can't hear it.
What about? They've got the thumbs up. Cool.
Yeah, you got the
Okay.
thumbs up? Okay. Yeah, okay. So so she has a need to be organized. What happens to a woman right after labor? Okay, she has labor, she has a baby. What's going on in her?
It's chaos.
Chaos. It's chaos.
And it stays chaotic for a while.
Up and down, all over the place. You want people to help you. And then when you have another baby, you said it got worse over time. When you have another baby, what happens?
The chaos increases.
Okay, and have another baby. You have 3 children or 4 children?
I have 4 biological. Yeah.
4 biological, awesome children. And so the chaos got worse. And so the more someone get disorganized, the weaker the small intestine is. And when the small intestine gets weak, the abdominal region gets weak. And your abdominal region is keeping it together. It's not combining it. Yes, Jeanette. Oh, I thought you were a comment. Okay. That's one view of that condition. Now we take the other view. We need to look at there's conflict in life. And so her left side and her right side, her right brain, her left brain, they're not coming together all the time. She's highly creative. Is that okay? Okay. She's highly creative and she's highly organized. What? That's 2 sides of a person. And she's not coming together some of the time. And she's here tonight. She's organizing us. She's doing a great job. You organize other people really well. That's why you're an editor.
Yes.
Yes.
So you edit really well for other people. Now, are you okay with all that?
Absolutely.
Okay,
You're great.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And so, and I could probably go on for another 10. but then you get out of control and then it, flushes out too often because the body is intense. It's too much fire. You have too much will. And then the will isn't healing you. You want to be healed and it's not happening. And so you get angry and it's not right.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that I could look up abdominal issues, I could look up small intestine issues, I could look up anger issues. That's the rabbit hole we're talking about.
Yeah, that's the rabbit hole.
Yep.
And then I gave you a whole bunch of other ideas. We'll
So
should
I'll
go.
have to go back and listen to it again and take notes.
And can I just mention that all of us have an abdomen and all of us have a small intestine and all of us experience this in our own way, in our own time, and sometimes chronic and sometimes acute. And I know Nicole personally, and she is one of the most deeply compassionate people that I've ever met.
Absolutely.
And so we all have this in our lives. We all have this experience. And that's one reason why we can say, it's not like all of a sudden like, oh, I'm a horrible person. I experience anger and frustration. No, if you don't experience anger, did you lose your liver? Be born with one? Hopefully you do have anger in your life. And Ron taught me that.
Yeah.
He said, I hope you have anger. If you don't have anger, if you don't have this part of you that if someone crosses your boundaries and you didn't respond with anger, what then you're not a person. Then you don't have an identity. You don't have boundaries. And you need that to maintain your anonymity, to maintain your safety. So it's a gift. And the understanding is learning how to balance, and not holding one thing so precious that it compromises other parts of you that are also very precious.
Correct. Exactly.
So I've got two
Well
more
said.
questions, unless anyone else jumps in the chat.
Okay.
My first question is, Denise talked earlier about working with a 7-year-old. Now, what if you have a child who's much younger where you can't necessarily read it? I can understand, like, as a mom, we could read it and kind of guess what's going on. But is there anything else that we could do for our young children who are too young to comprehend?
Great question. Do you want to comment or not comment? It's up to you.
We probably should do both. But my thought is, if I understand as a mother, then I know how to support that child now. And even with children who maybe even aren't even speaking very well English, like they can actually understand so much more than we give them credit for. And even reading it out loud, or even just understanding and showing up with that understanding, can impact that very young child in a very specific way. Or we, especially babies and things, we change our behavior because we're realizing, oh, that's stressing them out. And what I'm doing, that was such a big motivator for me as a mom. And first learning this information was like, I am causing my child stress by me not regulating, taking care of me properly. And then they're not getting the proper care that they need. So it's highly motivating to me to help support my kids in the way that they needed the support for them to stay well and learn.
And this is a sensitive subject because, like she mentioned, my stress is being picked up and being felt by the child. And so I'm trying to be always careful with that with individuals, because sometimes they go, oh, it's all my fault. And mommies feel like it's their fault, and it's not your fault. It's called part of nature. We want the child to be able to pick that up, because you want the child to recognize you and want to say, I have need. And so it has a vocalization of distress. The mom wants to be able to know and be there for your child. So rather than worried about the child picking up your stress, please allow the child to connect to you and deal with your stress too. So, so the other thing you can do is actually do a meditation for yourself, and then do a meditation for the child.
Yes.
And so the meditation, and we talk a little bit about that in the workbook, right? And we talk about that in a little bit in here. And of course I have the meditation book, Life Centering, if you want a ton of meditation. So you just relax yourself, and you start to do your breathing, and make sure your breathing is cleansing at first. And then as you do your breathing, just notice the stress in your body first, and create a visualization of moving that energy out of your own body to the earth or to the river. Now, I'm speeding this process up because of time, and there's more in depth. We'll go and do another event. But you want to relax your body, and then notice your mind, or notice your heart and feelings, which we go into the workbook more, and start moving that stress out. After you go through that process, I've sped all that up, okay? I've sped it up a lot. Then you will connect to your child. Imagine what it feels like to be crying, to be upset, to not be settled. Then allow yourself to do that meditation as if it were your child. And you'd be surprised how often it'll calm that child right down. And it's a very natural thing to do. That is more natural than pills, spills, and all that other stuff. It's more natural to become one with your child, because they already are. Okay. And just let nature do what it normally does. Be one with yourself, and then be one with your child, and allow the healing to happen.
Just a couple comments on that. I do remember I would often meditate while I was nursing. I would deep breathe while I would make sure my thoughts and everything was more connected. I learned to do that. It wasn't on the first or the beginning of the second child. I learned, and I got to practice, and I got to do that. And they actually became, this incredible process and this opportunity when I sat down to connect deeply with myself and with them. There also came a time when I had to accept that my life was not going to be perfect for this child. It just wasn't. I was not going to be stress-free for this child. I could not obtain the ideal perfect, it wasn't going to happen. And I had to accept that. All I could do was my best. And that whatever trials did come and whatever stresses did come, we're going to turn around and bless this child in some way, as every shadow does, as every experience does. And so I just turned to say, I could just kind of have compassion and shrug my shoulders at the same time and say, I'm doing my best. I understand this is hard, and I'm going to do everything I can to support while simultaneously embracing this isn't in my control. It's not. And that's okay. And it can bless them with strength that an easy life never could.
Exactly. In fact, they did studies and they found between the three types of pregnancies, the pregnancy that had no stress, the pregnancy that had medium stress, and the pregnancy that had high stress, the most healthy babies in their immune system were the medium stress pregnancies. Some stress is actually healthy.
Right. Right. That's awesome.
Great. So I did in the chat, I went ahead and I dropped the link for the mindbodydictionary.com/contact. So anyone
Thank
who
you.
has questions, they can click on that link. I also dropped the link for the mindbodydictionary.com, which will take you straight to the website, where if you haven't already purchased the book or downloaded the app, you can do that super conveniently from the site. And if you scroll down to the bottom, there are also references to courses and other books. And if you can't find anything that we've mentioned, you can use that contact link and we would be happy to send you a link.
That's right.
Which leaves me with just kind of one last question, unless anyone else jumps in the chat, which is if we want to work more with you guys one-on-one, how can we do that?
Okay. Before we answer that, there is something after that question. We want to talk about events, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So we
that
do have
here.
events to talk about.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And they can contact us through the contact.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we want to happen. And they're welcome to do that. And that'd be great. Okay. They'll contact us that way.
A little bit on the courses too. There is a class on the website that you can find called Transforming Universal Mindsets that addresses that drama triangle. And it's a beginner course. It's good for families. There's some things in there for kids that will help, but it kind of breaks it down so you can understand and connect deeply with each one of those aspects. And it's got some quality information that'll help you use the Mindbody Dictionary as well.
Yeah.
So
And
if you're
it's one of
interested in
many courses we'll be offering to individuals who want to have more information.
that.
Okay.
We have lots there. So we do have future events here. So should we jump right here?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So before we do the future event, we've got a question for you for the chat. Anybody who has access to that. These are 4 books, like titles, themes, however you want to call it, that we're considering for the next book. If you could help us out and give us feedback on priority order, which book would you want to see next? The very first one after this complete one. And then the one after that and the one after that. Which order would you want to see these books out? That would help us as far as focusing in and getting on there. We have some feedback, but on that. Is that all right there?
Yeah.
Very good. Let us know. We look forward to that. We appreciate your feedback. And if you have friends or anybody that has a strong feeling about it as well later on, send through that contact on our website. That'd be great. So let's go ahead and talk about our next event.
So we want to provide more events for you to actually learn more and so you can play with it. And so we're going to do a little more in depth on the next event of coping with pain on May 7th, processing chronic and acute pain, including our pain that we felt when it didn't come up as soon as we thought tonight, right? And next time we'll have it up long before and make sure that internet's going.
Yeah.
So coping with pain is a very important one, and pain is throughout the Mindbody Dictionary. And so there's so many avenues to consider. So we will be introducing that in a class on that date.
Yep. So the way that you can sign up, I think, Nicole, you have the links on that. If you can put those in the chat, you can sign up. We've got the link here. We do have a coupon code, May promo, that you can put in there and get $5 off the event for a limited time. It's about a week and a half or so, I think, or 2 weeks that you can get $5 off of this next event class. And then after that, it'll just go back to full price, I assume.
So let us explain something here.
Sure.
So on our next event,
Thank you.
The first 20 minutes to half hour will be free, and it'll be like a YouTube live that's happening that we're doing now for any questions, ideas, comments. And so we'll be live with that. After that, we're going to switch over to more Zoom for the paid portion, which is very small amount. It's not going to be that much, and you'll see it. as you log on. We wanted to do that so that if people just have just some questions, they need introduction, they can still do that in a free way. But if they want to dive deeper and have a mini course that doesn't cost very much, then we'll have these events like Coping with Pain and other events so you can learn more in depth how to, use the Mind-Body Dictionary principles and comments in our book. Okay.
Yep. All right. Is that good on that? So look for the link in the chat. Of course, we'll be sending out information through email on that as well. And perhaps through text. I guess we'll find out on that one.
Yeah.
And one last item of business is if you have received the book and you have not yet, and I don't know that that's finished, but on
okay.
Amazon, I just noticed that maybe I didn't quite finish that slide. But if you have received the book and you have not yet written a review on Amazon, we would so appreciate any reviews, any feedback that you can offer on Amazon. It does help us reach a wider audience and get this information out there in a way that people can have it accessible and that kind of thing. We have, I think, 7 reviews now, and we need a few more for it to be noticed.
Well, the book's only been out a short time, and we really appreciate so many of you supporting us and having fun. We've had several who bought 2 books or 3 books, and one's for their friends, and etc. And one for the bedroom, one for the kitchen,
for the office, and for the
I am so grateful, and so many of you I do know personally, and I'm really, really grateful for you. You're a gift to me in my life. So thank you for your support and appreciate your reviews. And
and we're grateful that it has had the impact on your life similar to the impact it's had on ours. It's phenomenal, and we're excited to grow in this awareness. And I honestly believe this information, this understanding and awareness will be one of those things. One day we walk around as natural as we do walking around with knowing viruses or bacteria. Oh yeah, I'm sick, caught you. Like we know it comes from somewhere. We will know this is coming because there's something I'm organizing in my life.
Yeah.
And it won't be, it won't be
harmful
or it'll be compassion and understanding, and we'll all know what that feels like and have compassion for it. Great. So that's the future that we are hoping for.
Good. And it's been really fun to be with you and be a part of this tonight. And if you have any other comments, you're welcome to put them in the chat. If you have any additional questions, we'd love to answer for you. I'll definitely be writing some more, and so we can add to this, and so you can have a more enjoyable life.
I had one last thought before we close. When we were talking earlier about making it fun, there's another way that Denise and I have found ways to make it fun that we didn't share earlier, which is to read it with someone. I really enjoy kind of if I find something funny, like, oh, I have a stomach ache, or oh, I have an earache, and I read it and I'm like, oh, this is too accurate. The first person I call is Denise. So sometimes being able to share that and commiserate that with someone else makes it, less serious and more fun.
Yes.
And like I think we've talked about definitely at other times, if not tonight, disease is just dis-ease, right? Sometimes we get so scared of that word, but really it just means dis-ease.
Yeah,
that's true. Not at ease. I'm at discomfort, and most people don't realize unless they had some discomfort, they won't make any change in their life.
Right.
And thank you for those comments. You're absolutely correct. That's beautiful.
One of the gifts, absolutely. So having friends that you can do this with and laugh at yourself with and have compassion with, and knowing they've got ears, and it's like, oh yeah, I noticed you didn't really want to hear that. You didn't want that, and it motivates you to get yourself ready and pay attention. It's great. So cool. Was there anything else?
Bless you all.
Bless you.
Bless you. Thank you again.
All right. We'll see you on hopefully the 7th of May.
7th of May. We'll have fun.
Goodbye.